Hi, everyone. Um, I think we can, yeah. Hi. So we have some people joining in as yet for the webinar. So we'll give everyone a few minutes to join in. If you can hear me, you can just drop a hi or a hey in the chat. So yeah, just to make sure that everyone can hear me clearly, you can just drop a comment in the chat. All right, perfect. Okay, we can see some of you. All right, great, great, great. So we'll give some time. I think there are people that are still joining in. Until then, I think we have a lot of you joining from different parts of the world. Would like to see where you guys are from. Is it Sri Lanka? I think Philippines. Where are you guys joining from? You can drop it in the chat. Are you joining from Sri Lanka? Are you joining from Philippines? Great. So we have from Philippines. We have a few more people left to join. Yeah. Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka. All right, great. Okay. Perfect. So I think we can get started. I've given about 2 minutes, so I think there's some people still joining, but we'll go ahead and get started. All right. So first of all, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking times of your busy schedules to join in this webinar. Right. So we'll try to make this, as interactive as possible. Right. So at any point, if you have any questions at all, there's a Q&A box. You can see it at the bottom of your screen. So at any point at all, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the Q&A box. Make sure to drop your questions in the Q&A box. That way, our moderator can actually, grab the questions, and we'll be answering the questions at the end of the webinar, right? So today's webinar will be so the topic is the AI intelligence that your C-suite needs, right? So it will be an exclusive first look at Lexi Insights, right? So Lexi is the agentic AI module of People's HR. We'll be diving a little bit into how it works. You will be getting an exclusive demo of Lexi Insights, and why I say exclusive is not everyone gets to see it. This is for an exclusive audience. So you guys are going to, get that exclusive experience of Lexi Insights, right? All right, perfect. So before we get started, quick introduction about myself. My name is Sean. I'm a product marketing manager here at People's HR. So a little bit about what I do. I understand the product, People's HR, the product's capabilities, and I see how I can, communicate and educate you, our customers, on the product, how you can use it, how you can really get the best value out of it. All right. And not just that, I also, play a role in understanding what is the, customer feedback, how you guys are using it, right? And also, relaying that back to the product team in terms of, how we can build and, make the product more useful for you in your business, right? So what we are going to cover today is, something along that lines, the latest development of the product Lexi Insights, right? So we're going to be looking at a couple of demos of how it works in practical business use cases, right? And what is it, why we built it, how it works. So you'll be, getting that exclusive view of Lexi Insights, right? So this webinar is going to take about 30 minutes, right? So it's just going to take about 30 minutes of your time. And like I said, at the end of the webinar, we'll be having a Q&A. will take about 5 to 10 minutes to answer some of the questions that you guys have, right? So if you're just joining in, again, the Q&A box is at the bottom. So make sure to drop your questions in the Q&A box. The moderator will be taking the questions from the Q&A box. All right, cool. So before we move on, right, just a quick survey question that we want to understand from you. So right now, how are you guys? For what purpose do you currently use AI tools at work? You should have a poll that should pop up on your screen, so you can go ahead and just key in the answer. So for what purpose do you currently use AI tools at work? You can go ahead and key in the answer in the poll that pops up on your screen. All right, so yeah, you have some answers here. Writing emails, I have answers coming in. So is it for writing emails, drafting documents? Are you using it to analyze data, generating reports, right? You are not really using AI, or is there anything else, right? All right, we have some answers coming in. I'll give a few more seconds. Yep, just key in your answers. It's anonymous, right? So no, you don't have to worry about, your answer being exposed, right? So you can just, it's an anonymous poll, right? So you can just quickly key in your answer. Okay, perfect. Right. So I think we'll go ahead and close the poll. So I think a lot of you are currently using AI. Majority of you are using AI. I see to write emails, drafting documents, day-to-day tasks. That's perfect. And I think some of you are already using AI. I would say early adopters, right, are already using AI for generating reports, supporting decisions, right? And that's great because that's exactly what this webinar is about today. Right. So we'll go right into it. So first of all, I want to explain what Lexi is, right? So Lexi is the AI workforce intelligence module of People's HR, right? So it's built entirely for your entire organization, right? So there are a few features within Lexi. So we have the first of all, I'd like to draw your attention to the Lexi Smart Navigator and Lexi Super Agent, right? So these are for employees. These will not be the, just for your information, these will not be the modules or the features that we would be covering in this current webinar, but just for your information. So the Lexi Smart Navigator is basically, think of it as an agent that knows the entire product of People's HR. So you don't really need to spend time navigating menus, finding, where you need to go through complex menu systems. You just, ask it what it is that you need, and it will take you to the relevant screen. So that's basically the Lexi Smart Navigator. The Lexi Super Agent, so if I'm to explain it quite simply, your employees would have multiple questions related to HR, right? What's my leave balance? What is the policy with regard to the dress code at work, right? So you just ask the question. The employee no longer has to sort of go to HR for these questions. The agent knows it all, right? And it's not just a Q&A agent, it also takes action, right? So if an employee wants to apply for leave, they can just ask the agent, I want to apply leave, let's say for the 24th of May, and the agent will lock in that leave, right? So that's basically the Lexi Smart Navigator and the Lexi Super Agent, which is primarily for employees, right? But I want to draw your attention to the Lexi Insights feature, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today, right? And important note, the Lexi Insights feature is exclusively for CXOs, right? Why that is, we will get into that, right? But you should, just so you know, Lexi Insights is exclusively for the CHRO, the CFO, the CEO, right? So if you are a CXO on this call today, I think you're in the right webinar, right? But for everyone else on the call, this is a very there's an incredible tool that your leadership will definitely see a lot of value in, right? So moving on. So what are some common AI tools, you currently use to support reporting and workforce decisions, right? I think a lot of you, a majority of you, I think, already use AI tools, right? So I'm not talking about emails or drafting policies, right? I'm talking about actual reports, analysis, predictions, right? Support with your decision making about your workforce, right? So, if I were to ask you that, right now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are using a lot of publicly available AI tools, right? I'm, I'm sure everyone uses ChatGPT. You all have heard of ChatGPT, Gemini, right? And quite obviously Microsoft Copilot. Some of you might be using Claude, right? So there's an array of AI tools. You might use, any single one of them. You might be using them in combination, right? Um, but that's where, I want to sort of make it very clear as to why, using these, there is an inherent limitation, right? There is a yes, it will give you an answer, right? But when it comes to workforce decision making, right? When it comes to the broader strategic decisions about your workforce, there is a limitation that you're going to face, right? So obviously, let's look at this for example. Asking the question is easy, but getting the answer that you need to take a strategic decision, not so much. So, for example, what's driving attrition in production teams right now? Can we afford a 7% pay rise across the board? And then where are our biggest recruitment bottlenecks? Yeah. So I think a lot of these questions are, I would say, not too strange to you. These are things that would have come up in your boardroom meetings, right? And oftentimes, getting a report on this takes weeks, right? But that's exactly what Lexi Insights is addressing. And that is to get those real insights immediately in a matter of seconds, right? So it's not a problem with people, right? It's not a problem with the people bringing you this information. It's a problem with data accessibility. Yeah. So if you just picture a scenario, right? I'm pretty sure how all of us would, do it is you either have an HRIS which you would export that data from, or maybe you're not using HRIS currently, right? In which case, let's say you have an Excel or a PDF, you would upload that to, for example, let's say ChatGPT, yeah, and you'd ask it your question and you'll get an answer, right? The problem is that is more likely going to be a partial answer. And the reason is quite obvious. See, the tool only knows a very limited amount about your business, right? It has no history whatsoever about your business, okay? Even if you have spoken with the tool over, a period of time, right? It's still very limited compared to the vast complexity of your business, right? So the other thing is, when you're uploading a document, you decide what is relevant for the answer, right? Meaning the tool is only limited to what you have provided it in the Excel or the PDF that you have uploaded. It cannot go beyond that, right? So you assume that this is the data that is relevant for it to give me the answer. You upload that and it is only limited to that, right? So these are, and you can see more limitations over here, but these are basically some of the limitations. The idea is that, the tool has zero knowledge about you and the answer is not specifically catered for your business, right? And that's where the difference with Lexi comes in, right? So it doesn't wait for your data. It already knows everything, right? And how that is, I want to quickly touch on, just a bit about how Lexi actually works, right? Lexi Insights. So like I said, if you look on the left side, a generic tool, you would upload a document, you'd ask it a question, right? But it's only limited to just that document, okay? Whereas if you look at Lexi Insights is built within people's HR, right? So it has access to everything about your business, from your co-HR, your payroll, your attendance data, your employee information, your recruitment, offboarding, performance. It knows everything. It basically knows all your workforce data, right? So it doesn't just stop there. It's not just about your own workforce, but it's also the fact that this this model has been trained on almost 30 years of HR data. That is the existence, that is the entire existence of people's HR, all the data that we have from across 1,700 plus companies, all that information, right? The model has been trained on it. So it knows, and it has been trained exclusively, for this purpose, right? So I mentioned that that it is an exclusive for C-Suite feature, right? So I just want to touch on, you might be asking the question, okay, why is it only exclusive to the C-Suite, right? Um, Couple of reasons. So number one is, like I said, Lexi Insights has unrestricted data access across your organization, right? So there is no restriction with regard to the data on that Lexi has access to, right? We have the ability to restrict certain when you're let's say when you're purchasing the feature, right? On People's HR, we have the ability to restrict certain modules. Let's say you want to restrict access to Lexi Insights on your payroll module, we can do that. Yeah, it's just a matter of switching that off. Um, but if not, if you want full access for Lexi Insights, meaning unrestricted access, that is possible, and that is why uh, this is exclusive for the C-suite, right? And secondly, strategic sensitivity, right? So the answers that Lexi gives, again, is just for the eyes of the C-suite, right? The answers, the strategic, the recommendations, the suggestions that Lexi gives is just for the eyes of the C-suite, and these are boardroom level conversation questions that we are talking about, right? So third, that decision authority, right? So the questions Lexi Insights is built to answer, right? Again, is just for that, is for the CEOs, CFOs, CHROs, right? So like I said, if you're a CXO that is in this webinar right now, that is amazing, because what you're going to see, you're going to really love, right? And for the rest of you also, again, this is the perfect, I would say, the perfect tool that your leadership really needs in today's modern world, right? Okay, so I think without further ado, let's get into the demos. I think this is what everyone has been waiting for. So we'll see it in action. We'll see how Lexi Insights works with different queries across, various categories, various functions of your business, right? From, let's say, attrition and people risk, payroll, workforce health, right? Workforce planning, right? Let's see how Lexi performs across all these, right? So without further ado, let's get into the first demo, right? So as you can see, before I start off, right, this is the Lexi Insights interface, right? So it is, I think, an interface that you're all familiar with. You have a standard chat interface where you can ask it your query, right? And it will generate an answer, right? So here you go, right? So the first question, which teams had the highest overtime hours in the last quarter? Let's see what Lexi comes up with, right? So it takes some time. So this is again real time. This is unedited, so you get to experience firsthand, how responsive it is. In a couple of seconds, it gives you that answer, right? So a very direct, very simple, and very direct question. So you can see the structure of the answer, right? So which teams had the highest overtime hours in the last quarter, right? So you see it has generated it as a graph, right? There's an explanation, right? So this is pretty straightforward, right? Let's get into another one, right? Yeah. So what is our current head count across departments, right? So we're asking Lexi a question, right? But this is a bit of a, just to show you, that you can actually move forward and carry out a conversation, right? So this is a very conversational sort of feature, right? So you can ask it one question, it gives you the answer. And as you can see, now you can ask it another question, right? So as per our current workforce plan, right? Can you tell which of those departments are understaffed, right? So it asks you, it gets clarifications before it gives you information, right? So over here it has said, give me what is your target headcount. You can upload. Let's see, you can tell it what your target headcount is, right? Give it benchmarks. And then, yeah, so sure, go ahead and highlight departments so here's an interesting scenario. These are, like I said, these are all unedited, right? So there is a spelling mistake also, right? But it still understands the context behind it, right? So these are completely unedited videos, right? And yeah, so there is so it has given an answer. In contrast, finance and human resource management dominate the workforce, suggesting a potential imbalance between operational and support functions, right? So it gives you those insights, right, that you would otherwise take, probably a week, right, or more to, get this information back, right? So on the spot, you're able to get that vital information, right? So um, it goes beyond that, right? So in this next example, you'd see how Lexi actually makes predictions based on past employee data, right? So we ask it, are employees who get promoted more likely to stay with us? All right. So let's see what kind of an answer it gives. So are employees who get promoted more likely to stay with us? Right? So this requires a bit of data gathering, right? So pushing the model to really, work across different modules of the product, right? So here you go. Let me just go back a bit. Yeah. So it really structures the answer, very nicely. It's not a very standard format, right? So depending on the question, as you can see, depending on the question that you have asked, right, it really structures the answer so that you can quickly get that information and understand it, right? So yes, promoted employees show significantly lower attrition, right? The six promoted employees in this data set have an average risk score of just 0.83 compared to 8.5, right? So every promoted employee sits at the lower risk tier, strongly suggesting that promotions are a meaningful retention lever, right? So uh, this is really interesting because you can take an actual decision based on this, right? And this is the kind of data that you need to now quickly speed up your workforce decisions and get to the conversations that really matter, right? Get to the actions that really matter, right? So that was a really cool example, I would say, of how Lexi uses historical data trends, right? Here's another one. So our employees who I wait, let me yeah, yeah, yes, the next one. So give me a report of a new hires performance, right? So I think this is very straightforward, but this is before Lexi yeah, so give me a report of new hires performance, right? So here is a summary of the three new hires and their current performance standings, right? So basically simple reports, right? And show me this in a chart, right? And then we are able to get this same information in a chart, right? You can carry on the conversation. So what's your recommendations? So again, since this is sensitive, again, sensitive information, sensitive recommendations, Lexi always makes sure to clarify what exactly it is that you're asking for. So for example, in this scenario where you've asked it for, the user has asked it for a recommendation, it it's interesting how it clarifies, okay, what recommendation are you actually asking for? Right? Do you want that recommendation based on performance improvement or a management focus, right? Or feel free to describe what you have in mind, right? So again, so we've asked it, okay, give me your thoughts overall. Yeah. So here's again, like I said, based on the question that you ask it or the query that you ask it, it structures that answer really nicely. And here's an interesting thing, right? It's given, Lexi has actually provided a few key actions. It gives a confidence level, right? So if you see over there, it doesn't just give you an answer, it gives you an answer with how confident it is about that answer, right? So, and below that, you will see it gives the justifications, right? So across the three new hires, the average performance score, right, is approximately 72.24. Likewise, right? It's spoken about, Benedict Cruz, right? Shows a well-rounded score of 80 and balanced goals, right? Um, just a quick note, right? So this information, this is not actual employee information. This is all this is on a demo account, right? So none of the information here is an actual business, right? So when you have more data, the more data that you have in your HRIS, right, the better answers that Lexi is able to give you, right? So moving on, as you can see, right? So it also has given, factors that it considered before giving that answer, right? So below the justifications, you can also see what kind of factors it considers. So in this particular question, for example, overall performance distribution is high. Your probation status, right? Two of three new hires are on probation. It has named them and requiring structured check-ins and formal evaluations, right? Competency score gaps, goal achievement, right? So there are multiple, factors considered when Lexi gives you an answer, right? And it makes sure to tell you that, right? And below that, you also have the raw data that, a sample of the raw data that it has considered, right? So it's giving you, it's not just recommending a random answer that you would get like from a generic AI tool, right? It shows you with justifications, with sample raw data, right? With factors that it considered as to how it came to these answers, right? Cool. All right, let's have a look at something else. Which departments are consistently working beyond their contracted hours? And for how long has this been the case, right? So I think a very practical question there, right? Okay, so let me just pause the video over there again. So like I said, which departments are working beyond their contracted hours and for how long has this been the case, right? So these queries are how I'm guessing this is how a real user would, type in their queries. These are very sort of unstructured, right? Now, for example, we've forgotten to mention what is the period, so Lexi makes sure to clarify, okay, what period are you asking me to show you? So it has given recommendations: last 3 months, last 6 months, year to date, a custom range, right? Or I can proceed with, the last 6 months as a default. Yeah, so it clarifies, those missing bits of information before it actually, moves forward. So we're going to go ahead and say, give me a year to date, right? And yeah, so it generates, that the year to date contract, the hours, overtime hours basically is what we're looking at here, right? And yeah, so I think the resulting answer again is just like what we saw earlier, right? Which you can quickly get that information. Let's look at one more. I think we have one or two more demos. Let's take a quick look at this one. So this is with regard to succession planning. What does our workforce age profile look like? And are there any departments where we should be thinking about succession planning? So again, this has to look, through multiple modules before it gives you an answer. You would not be able to do this just by, let's say, uploading a document, all right? Again, very structured answer. So let me just pause it there so that you can see the answer. Okay, yeah. So top risk areas and the justification, right? So overall workforce is heavily concentrated in the mid-career band, right? With 83 out of 88 employees falling in this age group, right? So it gives you those, quick recommendations, right? Very interesting stuff, yeah. And quickly, so one last I think one last query that we can show you, right? So we wanted to get a bit, let's really put Lexi, to the test, and let's give it a broader strategy decision, right? So Lexi advising on a broader workforce strategy, right? So we asked it, if I had to make one workforce decision today to reduce costs without losing key talent, what would you recommend and why? Right. So if I think this is something that you would, think about when you're just, sitting back, thinking to yourself, if I had to make one workforce decision today to reduce costs without losing my key talent, what would you recommend and why? Right. So let's see what Lexi recommends. Okay. Let me just pause the video again. Key actions, confidence high, justification. Across your 88% workforce, 26 out of 88 employees are non-permanent, representing a significant variable cost lever, right? I'll not read through every single point, but let me just let's read the last point actually. So the single most impactful decision today is to conduct a targeted non-renewal review of non-permanent contracts in HRM, where performance is lowest and headcount is high relative to output, freeing up budget without touching high performance teams. I mean, that is amazing, right? That is the kind of insight that you would usually take, a couple of days, weeks, maybe to, get this information back. You are just getting this instantly. You can act faster. You can drive your work for, I mean, this is what as a CXO, the modern workforce, the modern C-suite really needs when it comes to your workforce planning, right? So I think this information is really really helpful. Yeah. Yeah, great. So I think these are basically, multiple scenarios. I'm pretty sure that, once seeing this, you guys also have a lot of ideas coming to mind, like, hey, if I had this, for this particular, situation, I could have been able to, get this information. And um, great. That's the kind of feedback that we really need from you, right? We really want to understand how you would use Lexi, right? How you would use a tool like this, right? So that, like I said, that wasn't a stage demo, right? So all the information, how it really generates that strategic advice recommendations is based on that deep domain expertise that People's HR, that we at People's HR has, right? With almost 30 years of, that's close to 3 decades of experience in HR, right? Lexi is trained based on all that information, right? So think of it as the equivalent of someone who has that domain experience, not just 30 years, but like I said, over 1,700 plus organizations across multiple industries, right? And like I said, it's not a generic AI tool. Your data, this is your data, this is your context, right? So a generic AI tool is limited. This is not the case, right? Enterprise grade trust, right? And it's built to evolve with you, right? So Lexi will continue to learn. The more you use it, the more it continues to learn. What is your strategy? What are you thinking? Where do you need to drive your business, right? It continues to learn and evolve with you, right? So like I said, the takeaway, what you saw works because the foundation is real, right? That is guaranteed. Okay, cool. So we have a quick survey. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone here is really excited. So we want to kind of understand uh, how, the survey should pop up on your screen, right? So let's take some time and, fill in this quick survey, right? I'll give you guys some time, a minute or two. All right. So there's a couple of questions there, which we want to understand. Which area of your business would you most want Lexi Insights to help you first, right? How ready do you feel your organization is to adapt to a tool like Lexi Insights, right? So yeah, go ahead and key in your answer. Again, everything, the results will not be shown on the screen. This is, completely confidential. So please feel free to, key in your answer. This information will help us build the tool even further. Yeah, so we can see some answers coming in. Right, perfect. So how are you guys liking what you saw so far? If you're impressed, you can react from the chats? Are you impressed? Are you excited, for what the future with People's HR holds? Amazing. Great, great, great. I think we have a few more answers coming in. I'll give some more time. All right. Um, cool. So let's move on. I think we have a good response rate, and thank you very much for engaging, for giving us your feedback, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll close the poll, right? All right. So moving on. So what you saw, everything that you saw, this was, like I said, this is an exclusive demo. As a matter of fact, we are publicly, demoing Alexi Insights, for the first time. And, this was released in our latest version, right? So it is now available for you. If you are a People's HR customer, right, you are able to, upgrade and basically purchase Lexi Insights, right, as an upgrade through your existing software, right? And again, I'd like to note, right, this is exclusively for the CXO, so you can purchase a Lexi Insights seat, right? And you can get using it just the way that we showed you, right? So just a few important points, right? So Lexi Insights is built around you. It's built to evolve with your business, right? So just like any model, the more you use it, the more it learns, and the more we're able to train the tool, right? So there's a lot of, I can guarantee you guys, there's a lot of exciting features that are still in the pipeline for Lexi Insight. So it's only going to continue to get better. I know what you saw is, pretty amazing, but there's more to come, right? There's more cool features that are, going to be incorporated, right? So this is where your voice matters, right? So we don't just want it to be a tool where you're just going to try it out. We want it to be practical, right? We want it to actually solve real world business problems, right? So your voice, your feedback really matters, right? So you have the basically you have the wheel to shape what comes next, right? So the real time feedback that we get from you, shapes what comes next, for Lexi Insights, right? So that feedback is really valuable. The feedback that you just used, that you just gave us in the survey is going to be really valuable in terms of, building the tool forward, right? Okay. So I think we'll open the floor for the Q and A's. I think our moderator also is here. So she'll read out, some of the Q and A's. We can take some questions. Like I said, please drop your questions in the Q and A box that is in the bottom of your screen. Yeah, let's take the first question. Um, just give us a second. Yeah, so any questions, please drop it in the chat or the Q&A box. Do we have any questions? Anything that you guys would like to add? Okay, so just to give a bit more information about. Okay, we have a question. All right. Okay, so we have one question in. Can you explain a bit about how it is integrated and what about the allocation of Lexi seats? Okay, so basically, how it is integrated is it's purpose built to answer, like I said, it's purpose built to answer questions related to the CXO. So it has it is integrated, as in it's not an external, it's not a third party tool. It is built within People's HR. So it has that unrestricted access already to all the modules, right? So it is not a separate integration, right? And when it comes to the allocation of seats, right? So you would need to request a seat separately, right? So you can, if you are a People's HR customer, you can always get in touch with your customer success manager, right? And request about Lexi Insights, and they would be able to you will be able to purchase a seat through them, right? So that's basically how Lexi Insights, you can get access to Lexi Insights, right? Um, okay, we have another question. Can AI Lexi train data? To answer that question, when you say train data, I'm assuming that you mean can it learn from data, right? Can it train itself? The answer is yes, right? So it can train itself based on the data that is available in your HRIS, right? So whatever the answer that it gives you, it is based on the latest data that is available in your HRIS. Okay. So whatever answer is, like I said, it's based on the latest data. So as long as your HRIS data is up to date, it can train itself and learn from it, right? Do we have any more questions coming in? Okay. I think we are out of time actually, right? So brilliant. Thank you, everyone. First of all, thank you, everyone, for joining in. Right. So again, I'm pretty sure you would have liked everything that you saw. Right. It's very impressive stuff. Like I said, there's a lot more, developments coming in future as well. Right. But if you like what you saw and you want to, you're interested in getting access to Lexi Insights, if you are an existing customer, like I said, you can talk to your customer success manager, who will guide you on how you can purchase a seat for Lexi Insights, right? If you're new to People's HR, you can drop us an email, info@peopleshr.com, and we will get in touch with you. All right. Okay, perfect. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We're out of time, but this has been great. I thank you for taking times off your schedule and joining in. We'll be having more webinars like this in future, right? So join in to learn more about the product. And great. Hope everyone has an amazing week ahead. Thank you, and see you guys. Bye.